Hey YouTubers and lovers of budget cars and bikes, welcome back to the channel and a brand new project bike for the channel. I say project, there's going to be some explanations of what we're going to do with this bike and it's not what I had in mind. Let's get into it. So, what have we picked up? As the title will tell you, it is an absolute barn find of a bike. I've never actually bought what I would consider to be a barn find bike before, but it kind of gives it away when you spot this little tax list down here. Now bear in mind we are in the UK. That says the 4th of 2012. That's 10 years, basically, that this bike, that's the last time it was ridden, pretty much. I found this on Facebook. It was an old guy who was basically selling this for another old guy who didn't have Facebook. He was just not into all that social media stuff, which is fine, you know, it's not for everybody. I don't particularly get on with it, but it's useful in life, I guess. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he was selling it for his friend. I have wanted to try another one of these for a very long time. I actually did have one way before I started the YouTube channel, and I really enjoyed riding it. It's just such a good, fun, laugh bike to have, you know. And the prices did creep up. I think I paid about 1,800 quid for mine. It was a 2004 with, I think, 20,000 miles, something like that. And I paid about 1,800 quid for it from a dealer 7-8 years ago. You cannot find one of these now, relatively low mileage, say 20,000 miles in good condition, for less than 25 to 28 at a dealer's. If you're lucky, you'll pick one up at 23, maybe privately. But they have crept up in price because they're getting fewer and far between, especially good ones, obviously. But this one hasn't really been used. The guy that I bought it from, he's got dodgy knees. He couldn't get into it. I mean, I'm not a young guy anymore. I do find riding these kind of super sports bikes a little bit painful after a while, but these are such good fun. You almost kind of forget about how much pain you're in. They really are such a giggle to ride these bikes. So it is a Triumph Daytona 955i, the uprated model basically from the T595, which we did a review on. I'll stick that in here. I had planned on basically getting this bike up to not showroom condition, but a far better condition than it's in. It's got no MOT and it's been left in a very damp shed, and we will have a little look around this and you'll see why I say that. We'll start off with these front brake calipers down here. Look how rusty they are. That is a whole big rust fest going on down there, but it's not a big problem. All you got to do is get your Dremel and a little copper brush on them and they will come up almost like new again, especially that banjo bolt up there, as you can see, with the stainless steel braided lines there as well. There's a couple of little scuffs. I mean, there's this little one here, but that's pretty much it on this side. On the other side, on the fairing down here, it's almost spotless. I cannot rather find a mark on it. The case is, yeah, okay, they've got a couple of little scuffs. It's got crash bars as well, or crash bungs, which is always bloody useful. The rest of it is in pretty good order. Tiny little tear in the seat here. It's got a Micron exhaust as well with this kind of weird adapter, which I've not seen before. And he did say he was going to drop off the original exhaust because I'd prefer to get this back to original. There's the rear caliper. Same sort of story. I mean, if you saw the video we did on the CB1100 Super Blackbird, pretty much the same sort of story. Slightly abused, needed some love, but only cosmetic. This is probably visually the worst of it down here. As you can see, all these bolts here for the clutch cover are pretty rusty. There's a little bit of paint bubbling here and just a little bit here as well. It's just damp basically, and as you can see, it's not looking too pretty down in there. But my plan was to get the clutch cover off, sand it back, respray it. I bought a whole new set of stainless steel bolts. It was about 20 quid I think for the whole set, which was a lot easier than obviously trying to just sand them off and put them back. And I was going to get these fairings off and spray the engine as well, but plans have changed slightly. It's not going to be the project I expected it to be, basically. I've taken a deal with a trader for a bike that I've been after for so long, I just could not pass it up. But I wanted to show you this, and we are going to take it out for a ride in the second video. I wanted to show you as it's arrived here, before we wash it, before we do anything. I'm going to wash it in a second, see if I can polish out some of these scratches, but I wanted to show you it, you know, the crud, as it were, on this bike. But as you can see also, second time around, there are no scratches and no bubbling on this tank. So rare to see that. I just cannot tell you how rare that is not to see any scratches or bubbling, which you predominantly get down in these bits here where the water pools in down there. You get this kind of bubbling. These are all plastic tanks, of course, I'm sure you know that, and they do suffer quite badly with ethanol kind of problems there. They just kind of bubble up through the paint. Now, why did I buy this bike? Have a look at this. Yep, That's the mileage. 6,913 miles. Extraordinary. It's also got a shift light as well. It's been part of a private collection. Some old boy basically wasn't riding it. It hasn't moved for 10 years and it's done just under 7,000 miles. I couldn't pass it up, especially for the price I got it at. I will reveal the price in the second video as usual. I was planning on taking it out for a ride today, but as you can probably see by the puddles, it's another typically June, almost July actually. We're 2 days away from July and it hasn't stopped bloody raining in Cornwall. So I don't think I'll be going out for a ride today, but I wanted to quickly show you what's just arrived, why I bought it and what the plans are. As I said, I was planning to do a kind of full-on restoration with this, get both the engine covers off, the stator cover and the clutch cover, repaint them, maybe repaint the engine or just get some engine polish on there, see what we can do with that, and basically do all the bolts all around, the banjo bolts, the caliper bolts, or get new ones and get that all looking lovely, give it a bloody good polish, and then basically see where we are with it rather. I haven't ridden it yet, but as is often the case, I went to see it. It was relatively local, about 40 miles away. I went to see it and the guy really kindly did a deal with me where he dropped it off a couple of days later to my house, which is fantastic. But as I said, I haven't actually ridden it yet, which, yeah, it's always a little bit daunting when you buy a bike and you haven't ridden it. But as I said, it's under 7,000 miles and it's had 3 owners, and considering it's not been used at all, apart from the MOTs. They have been doing MOTs on them, and I think they've been doing a bi-yearly oil change, not the filter, obviously, because there's nothing to filter, is there? But the oil is golden. I did check that out as well. Just ever so quickly, we'll have a look at the swinging arm as well. That's in good order. That rear shock is in stunning condition for a bike of this age. It's just a glorious, glorious bike, but it needs some love. And as I said, we will reveal the price. You will be very surprised to see what I got this bike for, bearing in mind what I told you these are worth before earlier on in this video. But that is it for now. I am going to give it a bloody good wash, and then I'm going to hope that this weather is going to hold off enough for me to go out for a ride, because it's not staying. I'm not going to be able to do everything that I wanted to do on this bike, which is such a shame. I really wanted to take you on that journey with me, but I have done a deal with a dealer on a bike that I've been looking to get for the last 5 years, and I could not pass it up. That will be up and coming on the channel. That is it for now. I'm going to give, as I said, this bike a bloody good wash, although I think the rain's going to do that for me. If you haven't subscribed and you want to see what it's like to ride this bike, and I'll give you all my thoughts on that, please consider subscribing, give the video a thumbs up, a like and a share, all that good stuff, and we will catch up again in a couple of weeks when I take this bad girl out for a little ride and I tell you all about it, because as I said, I haven't actually ridden the bike yet. It's been in storage pretty much for 10 years, so there is no knowing how it's going to ride and what it's going to be like, but I have owned one before and I know that they are a whole heap of fun. So follow the story along. On the next video, we'll take it out for a ride, and hopefully you'll have subscribed by then, and give this video a thumbs up and a like and a share. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well if you would. That's it for now. Catch up in a couple of weeks. We'll take this bad girl out for a ride and I'll give you my final thoughts on it. All right, thanks for watching.